Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And let me start by warmly welcoming the Home Secretary to her place. I'm very much looking forward to the exchanges that we will have so long as the Prime Minister leaves her in post. Now, when it comes to human rights, doesn't she accept that tinkering around the edges simply won't work? Now, she said in her answer a second ago that she wants to see the ECHR reformed, but her own Attorney General, Lord Hermer, said just 4 days ago that ECHR reform is, and I quote, a political trick. So perhaps she and the Attorney General should get themselves on the same page. Given her own Attorney General says that reform is not possible, doesn't she agree, as my honourable friend said a moment ago, that more fundamental changes are needed? Because this year has been the worst in history for illegal immigrants crossing the Channel, up 38% compared to last year. Only radical change will fix this mess. So will she back the Conservative plans to completely disapply the Human Rights Act and ensure that all illegal immigrants are immediately removed upon arrival?
Can I just say, please, you know the score, you know how we've got to get through questions. When colleagues don't get in, they're going to blame the Shadow Home Secretary. So please, try and help others. Home Secretary.
Mr. Speaker, I have to confess on that performance I found myself rather missing the Shadow Justice Secretary. He says we're tinkering at the edges. He could not be more wrong. We have a proper plan to look at legislative reform. But frankly, tinkering at the edges would have been fantastic under them because actually their own track record is they did, frankly, nothing. Sod all in 14 years. And suddenly they've found their reforming instincts now that they're in opposition. It's this government that will take forward domestic as well as international reform.
Does the Home Secretary accept her predecessor was moved because this government is failing on immigration? Indeed, 75% of the public think the government is failing. This year has been the worst in history for illegal migrants, up 38%. So let me try again. Will the Home Secretary take this opportunity to commit to real action and back our plans to disapply the Human Rights Act in relation to all immigration matters and immediately remove every illegal immigrant upon arrival?
Home Secretary.
I'll take no lessons from anyone sitting opposite a government that utterly failed on both legal and illegal migration. It is this government and this Home Secretary that will clean up their mess.
Chris Philp.
Brass neck when this has been the worst year in history and it's gone up by 38%. Now, Mr. Speaker, press reports this week suggest that a handful of illegal migrants might be removed to France, so she's been quite silent about that so far. But this has been amounts to only 5% of people crossing. Does she accept that allowing 95% of illegal immigrants to stay will be no deterrent? And will she commit to publishing full data on a weekly basis?
Well, on the subject of a brass neck, I think I'll have to buy him a mirror so he can stare one right in the face. As I say, I'm not going to take any lessons from him or anybody opposite. It is this government that has got removals up to 35,000. It is this government that's got asylum decisions moving again, and it is this government that has struck that historic agreement with France, and we're working with our partners in France to get those flights off the ground.
Lee Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have it on good authority that the people smugglers... Sorry, number 3. Sorry.
Mr. Speaker, you should have let him go for a bit. Under this government, the National Crime Agency has led 347 disruptions of immigration crime networks, its highest level on record, and a 40% increase over the previous year. And we are passing legislation to give both the National Crime Agency and law enforcement more powers to arrest those suspected of facilitating people smuggling at a much earlier stage. I was very sorry to see the Right Honourable Member for Ashfield not match his rhetoric with real action by voting for those measures when they were before the House.
Lee Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'll try again. I have it on good authority that the people smugglers in Northern Europe are absolutely delighted with Labour's new front bench over there, especially the promotion of the member for Dover and there. Good authority. Because they know we will get more of the same from this Labour government. The boats will still keep coming, the boats will get bigger, and the people smugglers will make more money. So what difference is this Home Secretary going to make that the last Home Secretary couldn't?
Mr. Speaker, I think the honourable member has just admitted to having a hotline to a bunch of people smugglers. Perhaps he'd like to contact the National Crime Agency and tell them he's in touch with a bunch of criminals so that they can be appropriately dealt with. Mr. Speaker, that's all he and his party have, a bunch of rhetoric, no answers to the proper problems that the previous government left behind. It is this government that will clean up the mess and secure our borders.
Chris Murray.
Illegal immigration is by definition an international crime, and that's why it's so important we work with our allies like France in targeting this that affects our communities. Can I welcome the government's one-in, one-out deal with France, which has the potential to be the most game-changing step in British migration policy in decades? Can the Minister give us an update on how the one-in, one-out deal is going, and if she's spoken to her counterparts in France in her new role?
My honourable friend is absolutely right that international cooperation is the key for us securing our borders here at home and assisting our international partners to do the same with their borders as well. I'm already in touch with my French counterparts. That was a landmark agreement, something the party opposite tried to achieve for many years, but they were all words, no action. It's this government that struck that landmark deal, and we are working with our partners in France to get the first flights off the ground as soon as possible.
Mark Pritchard.
I congratulate the Right Honourable Lady on her appointment, and I wish her every success. It is in the national interest and the national security interest that this issue is tackled, but I'm afraid that I think her front bench and the Prime Minister are absolutely wrong to get rid of a deterrent. And notwithstanding all the new policies, all the new bills, all the new relabelling and rebadging of organisations, unless there is a deterrent, the illegal migrants will continue to cross the channel, as they have been since this government has been in power. So when is a deterrent going to be put in place, and what will it look like?
Firstly, let me welcome the tone of the first part of the honourable gentleman's question. It is in our collective national interest that we secure our borders, and I look forward to working with colleagues from across the House as we get on with that important task. It is important not just to prevent criminality, but also to hold our own country together, and that's why I've always said I will do whatever it takes. I'm afraid to say to him that the Rwanda agreement, which is what he was referring to as a deterrent, was nothing of the sort. From the day that agreement was signed to the day that it was cancelled, 84,000 people crossed into this country. So that shows it was not a deterrent that was ever going to work. I am clear I will do whatever it takes, and I am already considering other measures that will deter people from making that crossing in the first place, and I will update the House in due course.
Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, immigration is still a big issue for my constituents. They email about it, it comes up when I'm in the pub. But people's frustration is turning to direct action, and Northampton is now filled with flags. Does the Home Secretary agree with me that flags are a symbol of our pride in our country and shouldn't be hijacked by plastic patriots and those who don't work in our country's interest?
Well, let me be very clear. I understand the strength of feeling across communities in this country about the use of hotels in particular. The right to protest is an ancient right in this country, and we will protect it. But it is important that we do not slip into rhetoric that incites violence or hatred towards other communities. I love the St George's flag. I love the Union Jack. That flag belongs to me as much as it does to anybody else, and we must never allow any of our flags to become symbols of division.